Okay, welcome everybody. Well, I think everybody's very brave, huh? Trying to learn something about quantum physics. And why do I teach something about quantum physics? Because it's connected to consciousness. And I'm giving you a very short presentation. And I think that afterwards there will be a lot of questions. As I told you already, I'm deaf. So and Wendy is the one I can understand very good. So if someone asks a question I don't understand, perhaps it's good that Wendy repeats it, then I'll understand it and can answer the question. So I'll now start to share my screen with the presentation. I was for 11 years a teacher of physics, but that's long ago. Uh, but I've started again. But I'll tell you. Uh, I'm going to tell you what quantum physics tells us about consciousness. And okay, and this is very important. Uh, Accidentally, when the first people connected to the session, everyone was talking about cats, and now I'm going to talk about the cat. And he has very important. She has a very important role in the whole story. Um, Sorry, some things not always work correctly. I'll start to describe a little bit of my education. Um, my mother was a Catholic and my father was an atheist. And he had to promise that the children would be educated in the Catholic way. So I went to church on Sundays, church holidays. I had to be there. I was sent to Catholic schools, friars, and priests. And okay, I got a good education, but they made me really mortally afraid of the devil. I thought, well, I could lose my soul. And I, I was thinking, I'm not a very good boy, so I'll surely burn in hell. This, this. I was really afraid. I had nightmares. At high school, I discovered Newtonian physics. That's the old classic physics, particles and fields and powers and energy. Yeah, was a revelation. I loved it. I was good at mathematics, and I thought, well, that's something I want to do. At school, at the Catholic school, uh, they told me about the demon of Laplace. I'm not going into details now, but the conclusion was there's only matter, I have no soul, which can be lost. I, I was, I call it, was was not well. Okay, I'll go on. Sometimes I'm lost for words in English. The problem is when you have no soul, when you no heaven, no God either. Well, that was terrible in a sense. Yeah, the world changed into a kind of a zombie theater. And well, I thought, well, if that's the deal, so be it, but it's not nice. Let's have some fun uh, before I die, but that's all. Yeah, okay. Um, okay, I was good at physics and I was very bad at memory. Physics, you don't need a lot of memory to do. You have to uh, be able to do mathematics. You want to do, you can, yeah, you can analyze a structure. Memorizing, I thought first about going into medics, but you had to memorize a lot of things, so I didn't do that. I went to the Delft Technical University, and uh, that's a very technically oriented environment. It's materialistic. Okay. And then comes the cat. So around 1975, I had finished my studies. I was doing my military service, but I was allowed to have my own accommodation, my own apartment. And I had 2 white cats and a very big tomcat. It's about the 2 white cats I'm going to tell you. They are very important. The first one that entered in my home, I named Crocodilocus. I'm not going to ask you to pronounce it again. I mostly said croak. And why this name? Well, it's the joker in the children's bedtime story I heard when I was a very little boy. Yeah. Then the other cat came in. He was always white, she was white. And I said, well, okay, I'll give you a name from the same story, and that's Kaskus Kilowan. And, well, mostly Kas. And that's the king in the story. The tomcat isn't in this story. I have a lot of nice stories about him, but that's not here. Now, this joker, the first one, the white cat, was a charming cat, very charming cat, friendly cat. Everybody loved her, and she loved everybody. Yeah, and she made peace between the other 2 cats. The other 2 cats didn't like each other; they fought a lot. But when she came inside, they could sleep together. Yeah? And then, in a very embarrassing detail, the joker was attracted to nipples. And when you're going to bed, and she jumps on the bed and tries to suck your nipple. That's endearing, but also embarrassing. It's not something you tell everybody. And then the other one. It's not very charming individual. If you petted her, you got a scratch. And she wasn't interested in nipples at all. So quite different. They are both white with a little black dot on the forehead. They looked alike, but quite different characters. And then something terrible happens. I had some potted plants. I detected spider mite, and I bought and applied insect pins. That's a legally approved pesticide you can buy at the moment again from Mr. Bayer. So I applied it, put it in the plants. 2 days after that, I come home and I found the joker convulsing on the floor. Poisoned. I'm still affected by this emotionally. It does something to me. And I did it. I poisoned my cat in a way. And it was nerve poison, as the vet told me. And this is, you die in a terrible way. Yeah. You convulse, you can jerk. It's okay. It took 2 days to die. I cried. And I went to sleep. And there was a very strange thing that happens. The king, it's the other white cat, jumps on the bed and went for my nipples. One single time. She never did it before. She has never done it after that. Well, I was astonished. I didn't understand it. I took a long time to understand it, but that's after-death communication. It's a message. I'm fine, Paul. cheer up, yeah, don't cry. That was the message. It took a long time to be converted from materialistic belief to, well, what I'm now. Well, this was the beginning of my conversion. She was quietly opening me up, and uh, then I started to teach physics at high school. I did it for 11 years, and then I switched to another job, ITC consulting. I did it to my retirement. I retired now at the moment. Um, it's 94. I found the book of Amit Goswami on my path. Amit Goswami is also mentioned on the website of Victor and Wendy. And the world slowly started to turn inside out. I started to understand I'm a physicist. I can read these books very easily, and the logic was irrefutable. Consciousness creates the material world, and quantum physics, that's a part of physics. It's very special. Consciousness comes before matter. Consciousness is the primary stuff of the universe. And it shows us that the observer creates the observed reality. I'm going to tell you a little bit. If you accept these facts, the weirdness of quantum physics, that's told a lot about. Quantum physics is weird, it's nobody understands it. It starts to make sense. And I'm still connected to Amit. And well, he is now a quantum activist, and well, do a look at his website. I said, and I think now you know my story, and I will give you a very short introduction into the matter of quantum physics, and I hope you can follow me. We start with some definitions. Definitions: a particle. What's a particle? And now, I'm not going to say particles exist, but definitions. What do we see as particles when we speak about them? That's an object where all the matter exists within its boundaries. It has an exact location and exact speed. That's Newtonian physics. Material reality is made of particles and their interactions. Particles do not interpenetrate. When they collide, they bounce or they stick together, but they do not interpenetrate. They exist permanently in space and time, but are not a part of it. Space and time is something different. That's short what a particle is, how we see it. Another important object is a wave in quantum physics. A wave is a moving excitation of a coherent medium. Coherent is a very important thing to of a wave. Because it's a wave, it has no exact location. It has no boundaries. And think a little bit about it. Because it has no boundaries, the wave exists everywhere. Think about the ocean. A wave on the ocean has no boundaries. So the wave is everywhere on the ocean. At every point of the ocean. Well, the boundaries are the boundaries of the ocean. Okay. Yeah. This is very important. A wave, you can say a wave has a speed. There are frequencies in it. It has a frequency, more frequency, but a wave has no exact location. And a wave is not a separate something from the medium. A wave is the medium. It's the same thing. A wave is moving medium. Waves do not collide. They do not bounce. They interpenetrate. Just they run through each other without affecting each other. They simply sum up, and well, then you get more complex waves when they run through each other, but they are still waves. The original wave is still in the interpretate in their summed up wave. This is important in standing waves. Here you have a little picture, an animation of two waves. They one wave running from the left and one from the right, and they combine their excitations, and you get a standing wave. That's for the strings. That's in organs and all kind of instruments. Why do I tell this? Because particles and waves are totally different things, totally different concepts. And you hear a lot, well, it's both a wave and a particle. That's bullshit. It's a sham. Don't believe it. This is confusing. Yeah? People get confused when you tell that. It cannot be both a wave and a particle. So that's the start from. And now we're going to look at the quantum wave. And waves on water, acoustic waves. We knew already a lot about waves before the quantum was discovered at around 1900. Waves they need a medium, a coherent medium to be able to wave, to be able to oscillate. And the quantum wave, I'm not going to tell here how they detected that there was a quantum wave, but it's there. It's because it's a wave, it has to be coherent. But the quantum wave is not a material thing. And why do I say that? The quantum wave can be mathematically described with properties, and only this description does not exist in our dimensions. You need other dimensions than our physical world. What does it do? The quantum wave gives us the probability of observing the object when we focus our attention on a certain location and time. Mostly they say when we measure it. But that's a better description. Focus of attention on a certain location and time. The quantum wave is a wave of potentiality. I already said that. A focused act of observation is commonly called by the physicist a measurement. Because it's a probability, and I think everybody should understand a probability is a number. Probability is not something you find somewhere on your table, on the floor, in your refrigerator. It's a number. Where do you find a number? Well, that's in mind. So the quantum wave is an object in the mind. And it's a coherent object because it's a wave. Before measurement, the object does not exist. Well, that's confirmed by experiment. And okay, a lot of physicists protest when you say that, but it's measured, it's done, and it's reported. June 2015, very important date for me. So when we observe reality, it becomes particles, it becomes reality. So when you first think about this, then you think, okay, me observing causes the manifestation of the object, materializations. But if you think that, well, okay, you, you, you can be glad, but that's creating matter. You got powers. But that's dualistic thinking. You're now thinking into matter, there's mind. A lot of people who think mind is something, a lot of people think there's matter and mind. That's dualistic thinking, that's already something that Descartes supposed. And there would be totally different phenomena. Matter and mind, they could not. The problem is because mind is totally different from matter. It is not. It should not be able to influence it. But you're going too fast. It's better when you say we create our own reality. So Karen Cross has it right. You create your own reality. And that's not dualistic thinking. What's the better option? Some facts. Observing matter is an experience. Where is that experience? It's in your mind. It's not outside your mind. An experience can never be outside your mind. There's always something in your mind that happens there. So the mind is the vehicle for the experience of matter. To me, this suggests that mind creates matter. Matter is nothing but thoughts. Thoughts matter. Observation and creation are both products of the mind. It matters what you think, literally. This is the Copenhagen interpretation by Bohr and Heisenberg. And you can have some fun about it. A lot of physicists deny that the Copenhagen interpretation can be applied to macroscopic objects like billiard balls, tables, chairs, things, big things. That's ridiculous. Yeah? That would imply that things that you encounter every day, the tables, the chairs, your house, everything is just only there when you observe it. That's ridiculous. Of course, it's garbage. Well, I speculate about the possibilities. There's not a scrap of evidence why the quantum materialization, the quantum collapse, that's also called like this, is restricted to submicroscopic objects. There are a lot of experiments done that confirm that the bigger objects also are created on measurement, or better said, on observation. Still, Copenhagen interpretation is not the favorite interpretation anymore. That was before 1960 and after that they want to prefer multiversal. But that's quite another story. I'm not going into that. I think that's preposterous. But if you think like this, it has also galactic consequences. I'm going to explain that, and it will be a surprise perhaps. The quantum wave is non-material. No physicist will say that that's not true. They will make a lot of noise, yes, but they cannot deny it. What I said already, what's the non-material medium where the quantum wave can wave, the coherent medium, that's the observing mind. And the quantum wave has no boundaries. I told you that. A wave has no boundaries. A wave on the ocean, the only boundaries are the boundaries of the ocean. The wave is everywhere. It means that here it's a quantum wave. It's a picture of a quantum wave. It's a simplification. This is a barrier here, and here is a quantum wave. And you see that beyond the barrier, the quantum wave still exists. This because it exists everywhere. It's only here the excitation is a little bit more, so the possibility that we find the object here is greater than the possibility there, but the possibility we find the object here is not zero. It's real. We can find the object here. And that's called quantum tunneling. Quantum tunneling is, well, the name is a misnomer. It's not an object going on a sneaky way through the barrier. Yeah, I see it as a manifestation on observing. When we look at it, it materializes, and it doesn't have to go through the barrier. And it's very probably instantaneously. Instantaneously, that means things can seem to go faster than light. Well, this was suggested already by a physicist named Thomas Hartman, 1962. And it's confirmed by the University of Toronto. Quantum tunneling, finding the object at the other side of the barrier, looks like it's going faster than light. And that's because it's just materialization on observation. Well, the academic discussions at the moment are very hot. In my interpretation, that says it does not go through the barrier, it simply materializes after the barrier, because the quantum wave is not zero there. Implications for space travel are interesting, anyhow. That's what I wanted to say. And quantum tunneling is also very important in our own body. That was, they never believed it. Physicists, when you said quantum phenomena in living tissue, they said it's not possible, it's not possible. Well, it's confirmed, and another time confirmed. Yeah. Everybody here listening is simply breathing. Yeah? You're going oxygen in, carbon dioxide out. You never realize that it's a very efficient process, and it's only efficient because of quantum tunneling. Somehow the body is able to manifest the quantum object behind the barrier in your body. Your neurons also, You wouldn't be able to blink an eye without quantum tunneling in your neurons, in your synapses. You wouldn't be able to move. And your cells, the chemical processes in your cells are lightning fast compared to the processes in glass tubes. And that's because we have enzymes. And what enzymes do is quantum tunneling. So my conclusion is that the mind that controls our body is also able to control the quantum wave, to use the quantum wave, to use the possibility of the quantum wave to manifest the objects that we need. Mostly in chemical reactions is an electron, yeah, to manifestate the electron in the proper place needed for our bodies. So it's our mind that keeps our body alive with quantum tunneling. And I think, could it be the case for spacecraft? If spacecraft is controlled by the mind, it could use quantum tunneling, and then it can manifest instantaneously in every location in the whole universe, because the quantum wave is everywhere. And that's what I say. Quantum physics does not forbid space travel as the classic theory of relativity does. But if we want to have a good physics theory, we have to include the mind in our physical theories. Okay, that was my little primer of quantum physics. I hope you didn't. I hope you understood a little bit of it. And I see there will be a lot of questions, I think, anyhow. What I'm doing now, it's not long ago, 2015, and I was in some course, and the teacher told the audience, well, nobody understands quantum physics. And I said, well, that's not true. I said it so to someone who is sitting here now, that's Mieke and Lisbeth. And I said, well, I can tell you something about quantum physics, and I think you'll understand a little bit more. And that became a small course for friends of friends, and it was fun. I was teaching again, and I loved it, yeah, and everybody enjoyed it. And then I went with my course to post-academic institutions and said, I have a nice course for you. And they were interested. So I'm now a teacher again in post-academic courses on universities in quantum physics and the mind. And what I'm teaching there, I put into a book, a self-published book in Dutch. Yeah, and it sold very well. Still selling more than 1,500 copies. And so I decided to translate it in English by myself. It took a year of COVID to do that. Yeah? So I used COVID lockdown to translate my book. It's available at Amazon. Now I want to finish my, I'm talking already. Last piece of information was not so long ago. I was visiting a dear friend. He was recovering from cancer treatment, a very harsh treatment, and he was recovering. So we were talking about, life and everything. And he asked me how I got into quantum teaching and the mind. And I told him the story of the Joker, the same story I told you. a little bit more details perhaps. And it was then almost the first time I told someone, because that story is a little bit embarrassing. You don't tell everybody cats going for your nipples, you know. And when I was finished telling this, we were silent for a moment. I was sitting there and I was looking around and I saw something on his mantelpiece that it was not manifested at the moment. It was already standing there for years. But it attracted my attention. And I said, well, Harry, what's that on your mantelpiece? What is it? What is represented? And that's what he said. It's a joker on the throne of the king. And I got goosebumps. This is what Harry had on his mantelpiece. So I see it. I think it's a little wink from the joker. Okay, Paul, it's going well. That's what I think. Okay, I think there will be a mass of questions. So I'll try to understand you with my deaf ears, and if anything, I'll stop the share here. Then can I see everybody again? So put your questions. If I don't understand you, Wendy will repeat them for me, and I'll try to understand it.